Hi, and welcome to everybody. Let me just spotlight myself here and make a couple of adjustments. Here we go. We're good. Well, welcome everybody. Really, really nice to see you today. So I wanted to remind us where we are and where we're at. I think everybody who's here has been at least once to our class, and most of you have been here for all of them. Last time, a lot of what we did is we attended to how our bodies were moving naturally, and we used a lot of sort of dance steps to do that. And then we slowed them down into Tai Chi, and we became, in both modes, we took note of what our bodies did naturally. And we also took note that when we slowed everything down into Tai Chi, we also did those same moves. And the fact that you could remember oftentimes what your body should be doing just by kind of doing what you do naturally. And we pointed out some of those things last time. We also reviewed the bow step, and we moved forward from bow step to bow step. And we will be reviewing that again. All of this is part of what we do. And I do want you all to remember, we did those, we called them knee bumps. Remember that? We did those sort of knee bumps, and when we turned out, we always made sure our knees were aligned with our toes. And even if I don't say that, this is like one of those things that you should just, it should be in your brain, you know, whenever you're turning out, when your feet aren't right in front of you and one's out, you always want to be conscious of your knees. And you're not going to bump, but you are going to be conscious of their direction, and that those knees are headed in the same direction as the toe is. And sometimes when your feet are going out different directions, your knees are going out different directions, and that's as it should be, because that stacks us up on top of ourselves and doesn't leave a part of our body hanging out in space. And we never want a part of our body hanging out in space. So I want to warm you up today with some more explorations of just sort of our general body awareness and how it's aligned, but also a lot about the middle body. So I've taken a cue from Kelly here, who's another one of our teachers that a lot of you have. She did this the other day, and I thought it was fabulous. So, you know, we're going to get into the middle body today. And then we're going to review the work that we have done before. And we're going to get into coordinating our upper bodies and our lower bodies, and really start thinking about, well, why would we be turning our waist? And what does that do for us in real life? And for our health, and for transmitting power, and what does it do in a martial art, and where do we do it in Tai Chi? So we're going to start there. This is a big topic. We are building towards being able in a couple of sessions to be able to do what they call brush knee and push. This is something that if you're taking the first section, you're going to be introduced to. These are a lot of the basics that you'll find there, and I just love that move. It's powerful. There's so many fundamentals in it. This is where we're building. And then we're going to take another piece of the, so this course will go like that. We'll build towards getting a lot of fundamentals into a move. We'll be doing it on both sides always. And then we'll come back to all the essentials through other moves. So no matter when you join the course or you take it over and over again, you'll always be seeing the essentials in different moves. So that's the curriculum here for us. One more repetition here. I won't be saying this every time, but one more time, is that 70% rule, right? You don't take your body into a warning area where it might be saying, ooh, that's too far, ooh, that's too far. 70% of what you can do. If you do that every time, your 70% will get bigger and bigger and bigger. And you'll stay out of, as Kelly puts it, the world of pain, which is outside that warning area. And you definitely don't want to be there. So let's warm up. We usually stand shoulder width apart. Remember that where our hips, our shoulders, the outsides of our feet all aligned, right? And grounding first into your feet. Relax those feet. You know, most of us just don't keep them relaxed. So relax those feet, feel the bottoms of your feet. Imagine roots connecting you to the earth, magnets, soft, wonderful magnetic boots or slippers, just really connecting you to the earth. And then I want you to feel connected to gentle clouds in the sky from the very top of your head. And feel, even as you're connected at the very bottoms of your feet, feel at the top that you're just pulling up slightly. Are you still centered? Find that place where you can completely relax and feel extended, where your spine has a little more space. And you can get even more of that by making sure that your knees are soft, they're not locked. Check in with your lower back. It should be relaxed, really relaxed. Is your pelvis tilted? Think of that backbone as sort of reaching for the floor and the sky at the same time by aligning with your feet and your head. And then let's do this opening move we've been doing. We're gonna have our arms fill, come forward, droop those elbows, push that ball down into the water. Well, you can't push anymore. Just an infinitesimal stop and come back. And then starting at the very center of your back, your arms come out, palms back and up, floating up, and then from your upper arms first, drooping those elbows, pushing down. And one more time. This is opening. It is the very first move in the form, and it's related to the very last move in the form. Now, I'd like you to start again as for opening, and come up to shoulder height, and droop those elbows, and then I want you to let those elbows be pulled out like there's this ball in between. Your elbows should be relaxed now and drooping. Drooping just a little. Your shoulders are relaxed. And then we can bring them down. And let's do that again. Do you see I'm seeing this in a lot of you. You see how now, because we did that and we brought it down, our arms kind of look like a circle, don't they? Before we were like this and that was appropriate, but now we're like this. So let's just bring it up. And remember what first day, I think, we then made that bigger. Do you remember that? We made that bigger, 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 bigger. But it's still a circle. Don't stop that circle. And then smaller, 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 smaller. Are your shoulders relaxed? and bigger and smaller and down. Shake it out a little. How are those shoulders feeling? So I want to point something out. Do you remember last time we did this move where we went, we did these little knee bumps? Remember that? We had one foot going out and we did these little knee bumps straight and the other foot going out. And part of our message here was alignment, but part of our message was also that as they go out, was showing that right here, you can open. You can open. You can open. So this is open and this is closed. You could get more closed, but if you did, your knees wouldn't align, right? So you wanna be open, and it's a lot easier if you just do one at a time. Open, close, open, close, and come over onto the other side. And then I was already open, but open, close, open, close. Let's come back to center. I want you to come up here and I want you to experiment with that. So first of all, hug a tree. Hug a tree, droop the elbows, feel comfortable. Make sure that your knees are soft, they're bent a little. You could bend them a lot if you really want to, but just not locked, right? Just kind of soft. And your backbone shouldn't be out. Your backbone should be down. You should be stacked up on top of each other. This a lot of us call the hug a tree position. And you're a little bit open. Let's experiment with that. So as it gets bigger, do you notice that just like, let's stop at what I'll call a nice sized West Coast, Pacific Northwest tree, right? Here we are with that nice Pacific Northwest tree, this big circle. And notice that your shoulder has opened, right? Just like the bottom part of you did, right? It went from here to here. Well, actually, it was kind of already open somewhat when we were in the, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but no, probably not. But when we were in this position, you're in this position, you can see that my arm is already, and in your own arm, it's not straight, right? It's here. You could bring it over more. Well, let's try that, actually. Let's close it. You see that? You could close it. You could close it like this too, but that doesn't feel right, right? That feels like you're all tied up. Quite literally, that's what we would call this, right? Like tied up, like if you hug yourself, that's too tight, right? So right here is that point where you're closed, and that point where, guess what? Look down, this elbow, what's it on top of? Your knee. This is where you want it, on top of this is a really good place for it. It's not gonna be there all the time, right? It's not there now when we're up open, but when we're closed, it's a pretty stable, strong position because you're right on top of your knee. And then there's the hug a tree, open a little position, and there's the hug a tree, big position. Now I want you to experiment a minute with what it feels like when you get even bigger. So, let's go way, way out. How does that feel? What starts to happen to your bodies? Is there more tension? Is there more? Now you guys are unmuted. If you can shout out if you want. or not. But for me, the experience is that, number one, my arms feel a lot heavier. And I saw some of you just put your arms down, right? So you can like take a break if you want. They got heavier for you too, but they also cross your back, you know, and your shoulders tend to come up. It's not as good. We want this big circle to always include our front. So there's a fundamental in Tai Chi which actually talks about the back of our shoulders being just a little circular and the front of our chest being just a little in, part of this big circle. And part of that is to protect all of these muscles and shoulders. If your shoulder hangs out back here and you start to do something, this shoulder is going to take all of the stress. But if your shoulder is always forward a little bit, it's not going to take the stress of the move. And you could actually turn in order to, if you need more room, you could always turn your upper body. So we're going to go to that too, but let's just do a little more open close. So here we are. Things to remember. I told you we'd be doing upper and middle body today. So here are our arms. This is your hug a tree. Open further, but not too far. It's got to still be a circle all the way. And I love what, I think it was Kelly, but it might have been Rita. I'm losing track. I've been to so many classes recently. Said about let the energy come from you. Yes, and put your hands down. This put your hands down when you need to. Again, stay in your 70% range, right? But you can also do it here. You can do the same thing lower. It may be easier for you. So I want you to just find where it's comfortable, and I want you to feel as if energy starts at your spine. Energy and power starts at your spine, and it fills you. Feel that expanding energy coming all the way to your fingertips and then crossing this barrier of air, unifying you. It doesn't matter whether you're here or whether you're here, you can feel that. And if you don't feel it right now, some people feel actually tingling and all sorts of things going on. You may not feel that, but what you may feel right now is like you're connected. Like if you moved one, the other would move, right? It would move with you. And this is what we want. This is, again, part of our stability when we're doing this, okay? Next thing we want to do is look at, so I actually want to just do a little bit more, sorry. I was going to go on, but let's come here and then let's close. And when we do, I want you to just think of, one hand up, one hand down. The bottom hand you can almost read from, you look down, glance, that's where your recipe is. Your top hand is parallel. Your top arm is parallel. And then we could come out like a great big oval and come in. Can you continue to feel that connection as you do that? Out and in, out and in. We're going to start adding this kind of thing to our exercises. So the one on top is always facing down. They're kind of like facing each other, but they're not here, they're here, right? So we can pop those down for the moment, shake out. One thing about Tai Chi, when you do things slowly, some of these simple things, you go, oh, haven't used that muscle in a while, So it's good for you. So Kelly did this the other day. I want us to remember how we were doing sort of hip circles to warm up. We're doing hip circles. And then some people do this kind of thing to warm up. I want your knees to be over your toes. So I want you to do these little knee bumps when you do this. So look down. Are your knees going with your hips? If they are, make it smaller. Make it smaller. Do these little knee bumps right now. And then stop doing the knee bumps, but keep turning, but make sure you're thinking about those knees. Make sure you're thinking about it. Now let's slow it down. Stand in our erect, centered way. And take your shoulders and just turn them, but don't turn your hips. Just your shoulders. Let's see so here's my hips right here. Take your shoulders and just turn them and get a feel. Don't let your, if you need to bump those knees a little bit to make sure they're staying, don't take your hips. Just take the top of you. Doing this in a chair is a really great thing to do. I didn't tell you to bring a chair this time, but we'll do that next time, okay? It's a very good thing, and Kelly did that in her class. But I want you to think about your shoulders turning. You can also think about this point right near your belly button. How far does that turn? How far does that turn? Probably not quite as far as your shoulders. You want to be particularly gentle, right? Some of us have back issues. Now, we could stay looking straight ahead as we do this. Somebody was saying in a class I was in this morning, if you can do this and stay relaxed and keep your eyes forward, you're actually turning your head effectively to the right and left, right? And you're exercising all of those vertebrae. So this is a really good thing that we're doing for ourselves. But these hips, they need to stay. The hips need to stay as we turn. One of the good things about turning our upper body in Tai Chi is that it's putting this gentle, dynamic tension of natural movement on our spine. This is a very good thing for our spine. It's telling our spine, ooh, stay extended. Ooh, you need to work. Ooh, little muscles, get going. It's going to help you stay more erect, longer, make you healthier. All of these wonderful things come from that. So how are we doing? Are we good here? Fabulous. I want to go now into an exercise, an imaginative thing. And I'm going to ask some of you to volunteer, and maybe nobody will today, but to volunteer to give me some of your experiences. So we've done furry friends like this, right? Those of you who've been to all of them, and we've done the Archer experience. So I want you to just play for a minute. What's your favorite ball game? I want you to get there and throw the ball, or maybe you're into football. How do you do that? Yeah, I see you guys doing it. There you go. Yeah, how does that work? How does that work? And if you see that guy on the pitcher's mound, and he goes, or she goes, depending, but I guess slow pitch is different, right? But like they do that. Oh, and then there's the shot putter, right? I can't do it, but don't they do something like, they go around in circles and then they go, you know, up like that. So I want you to think about that. Like if you wanted to throw a ball or you had to throw something, you really, so you have to, I'm going to play catch with you now, and I'm going to like throw this to you, and you got to throw it right back. All right, great, fabulous, fabulous. And the good thing about this is you can't miss, right? I got them all, right? It's wonderful. Okay, so I want you to do it in slow motion now. Can you at all? I want you to try it in slow motion. Be one of those slow-mo pictures. Like, what's that like? So here we go. I'm going to throw it to you. And in slow motion. All right. So think about that. Maybe do it again. What's happening? Does your weight shift? Does an arm go back? Does your body turn? Does anybody notice anything? Do it again, slow motion. I see a lot when I watch you, but I know what I'm looking for. Anyone have anything they notice? Like if you had to describe this to a coach and say, look for this, what would you say? Marion, you look like you're going to say something.
Well, I'm imagining catching a baseball, and I would catch it, but I wouldn't necessarily stand with my feet parallel to catch it. I might have them slightly askew. And then in order to throw that ball, then I turn my body into one long arrow and then lean forward. And then I use my back arm as a balance in order to throw forward. So I have a circular motion of two double gloved arcs in opposite direction, up and down.
So I'm hearing you talk about your feet being different, weight coming back and then weight going forward, right. and counterbalancing.
Right.
Is that what I'm hearing you talk about?
Yes. Yes. I mean, my knees are bent a little too, you know,
right.
Support the move.
And you said your body was turning. What did you mean by that?
Well, I have to turn sideways, like when you're shooting an arrow, in order to aim, basically.
Yeah.
Hold that arm forward to have an image of my focus, and then lean forward at an angle. But my shoulders are square at that point.
So you're saying that your upper body turns to the corner, yes. And then it turns back.
Right.
I'm seeing a lot of nods.
Yeah.
Yeah. And actually, if you look at people in slow motion doing this, which of course these days you can, just slow motion football pass, you know, you'll get it. Coaching tips, football throwing, baseball throwing, you know, you'll slow motion, you'll get that kind of thing, and you can actually see it. But this is true in our sports, it's true in our bodies, and it's true, you know, in Tai Chi. Because in Tai Chi, actually, you're oftentimes throwing a hit. You're throwing a part of your body because it's a martial art. So even though it is also a healthy way to move, because you're aligned, you're balanced, you're extended, you're all the time exercising all the little pieces of yourself, it's also a martial art. So it's also designed not only to keep you balanced and safe in your everyday life, but to deliver power. So what does that involve? That involves coming back, like Marion said, coming back. It involves collecting yourself, kind of collecting yourself in the center, no matter what you're doing, right? You're kind of collecting yourself. But then as one goes back, one goes forward, right? It's right. Keeping you balanced. In almost all of them, you might be like this, but something's going to go forward, so you're balanced. And yes, most of your weight, you can see it in me. Look at this. you can see my weight is all in the, I mean, I'm off to the angle at the moment so I can show you, but you know, then you come forward and I'm still turned this way. I've turned my body this way, right? She talked about that. And then I'm actually doing this towards the corner so you can see. And then look. That's where it goes when I throw that ball. And my fingers point in the direction, usually when you're throwing a ball, it releases it. Depending on how you release it, it spins, or it's a knuckleball, or it's, you know, the football goes like this. And another thing about safety is that when we come back, if you're the kind of 90-mile-an-hour pitcher or something who comes back and you overturn here and open this area, then when you whip through, because it's a whip that you're doing with your body. When you whip through, you take all of that in your shoulder. But if you stay, and you can look online, you'll see coaching tips about this. Don't let your athlete's shoulder get too far back, right? You've got to keep this circle. You've got to keep the circle we had here, the big tree circle. Don't get like this. Get like this, because when you do, and your arm goes back, and you keep that circle, see that circle? See that circle? It's not back here, right? It looks back there, optical illusion. I turned my body. It's not back there, right? So that I can be safe. When I whip it, it won't hurt my shoulder. Okay, now we're going to be doing it in slow motion, but I wanted you to have this sense of how all of this relates to itself fundamentally in this art. And when we talk about, when we do our bow step, moving from moving to moving, we're going to start putting in where does the upper body go and when. And you can, just like you can feel that surfboard feeling, you can feel the power coming out of your leg into your middle body and out your arm. So those of you who already know the form can be bringing this in now to your form. And those of you who are learning it for the first time are going to be, I'm not going to be able to feel this for a long time. True enough. But knowing it's there, one day you will feel it, because you'll be looking for it. You'll say, here's where my power is in this. And here's where, and even if you're not interested in martial arts, it's going to tell you you're aligned. And it's going to feel really right when you feel it. Just like when you found that you were on the rocky terrain, right? And you spontaneously went into a bow step. It's the same kind of thing. So another activity for us today is, let's stand shoulder width apart. And I want us to turn out one foot and then bring the other foot over. And I want us to swing step, swing step, swing step, swing step. Now, remember, we're actually going to put our shoulders to the corner. And guess what? This is what I'm doing. Let's actually do this first. Hands here, elbows relaxed. Hands here, elbows relaxed. Circle. Now, I want you to, can you just sort of drop your arms for a minute? Yeah, beautiful. It's really silly, isn't it? Let's do that again. And drop your arms. There you go. I love it. I love it. You guys are great. Now, see, this is how you isolate something. You see how your shoulders are all relaxed? Okay, keep those shoulders relaxed. Now, I want you to actually swing them. and let your palms go up. Beautiful. And swing them and up. And guess what? We got to be the big tree, right? Swing them and up. And swing them and up. Wonderful. And swing them and up. And I want to show you that if I were sideways, this would look like my hand went back to the corner. Do you see that? All right, so we're going to come over here, stand in the corner, right? And we're gonna swing one arm and step out. And in, and swing out, and in. You know, I used to think this was, we can dance this a little bit if you want. I used to think this was hokey pokey, but I realized today it's not. You know, that old, you put your left foot out, you know, but it's not actually that little dance we used to do. But it works to that music. So get a feel for that. Let's do it on the other side. And here, here. Now, those knee bumps, you never forget them. Right now, when you're doing it, you're like, am I conscious of my knee direction? And I shouldn't be seeing this. I should be seeing a big tree. You can do it this way if you want. It's the big tree. Right? Always a circle. Always a circle. So let's review our bow step, because next week we're going to start getting, we're going to be using this moving bow step, the bow step and the moving bow step, and we're going to start doing some things with arms, okay? So I want you to, first let's just review the bow step. So we're going to move, you can mirror me or not, it doesn't matter, we're going to do it on both sides. We're going to move our center over, our weight over, turn out. We're going to bend both knees, and you know, you've got the right directions, right, for your knees. We're going to stand on one foot, and we're going to put our foot out, and we're going to move forward, right? And we're going to be in the corner. Remember that? Now we're going to do it again. And we're going to move over, turn out, bend both knees, move over and step. And one more time, move over, bend. Can you put this arm out now? And step. Can we stand in the corner and do it slowly? Step, arm out, back. Step, arm out, back. Step, arm out. If your knee is in the right position, you'll be able to do 2 or 3 of those, and then it's going to go, your thigh's going to go, oh, you're really working me. So let's work the other side. We're going to move over here. We're going to turn out. We're going to bend both knees, put all our weight on this side. This leg gets kind of straight. And then it could either go out like this, or it could come in and go out. Both things happen in the form. And then we push with the back, bend the knee and support with the front. Right? And then we can come stand in the corner on this side. And we can, remember, go out and in, but we can swing, step, back, swing, step, back. In fact, we could carry ourselves and just like have this other hand right here. If we wanted, we have our other hand right here, if we wanted. And then when we're here, we can come forward, push, absorb, bend the knee. What if right when we bent the knee, we turned our upper body, but we kept the bottom of us off on the diagonal, but the upper body at the last minute turned. This is what you would do sometimes to get power. Let's do the moving bow step. We'll do more of this next week, but I just want you to have it in your head. All right, so we're way back here, going to do the same thing. We're going to shift to one side. I'm shifting to this side right now, turning out on the other side. We're going to bend both knees, put all the weight on the right so that this foot can go wherever it wants. It's going to step out. Knees are going to go in line with their toes, heel, ball, toe. Then we're going to come back. Right now, I'm not doing anything with my upper body. I'm just letting it hang out wherever it wants to be. I've come back to center, turned out, pushing with the back foot, all of my weight on the front foot, standing in the corner, reaching out with that foot, shoulder width apart, pushing with that back foot, letting the forward foot go, and then bending that knee. Look down, check to make sure your knees are aligned. Now we're going to add to it a turn. So we're going to come back to center. Both knees are bent. You're on your surfboard, but now you've put the weight in your front heel. Turn it out. Push with the back foot. Absorb with the front foot until all of your weight's in the front foot. Peel that back foot off. Pick it up. Step out. Your whole body is towards the corner. Push with the back leg. Let the front leg go down. Don't bend it yet. Pushing. Then bend the knee. And as you bend the knee, turn your shoulders and feel a bit of a stretch, just a little bit of a stretch. You don't have to turn them all the way square. Just turn them a little bit right now to feel that you can turn them, right? Your bottom can be open beautifully to the corner, but your top can choose when it wants to turn. And come back to center. Feel your surfboard. Let the weight then go into your heel. Pivot on the heel. Push all of your weight. Stand in that corner. Think about standing in the corner. Think about the hips are going to be towards the corner as you reach that foot out. But remember, both knees in line with the toes. Push, let that foot come down onto the floor. Then as you bend your knee, you can turn the front of you and play with it whenever you want. We're going to do a lot more of this next week. If we were throwing an arm, we would be like this, and then we turn to have the power. If we were throwing an arm, we'd gather ourselves, our arms would go back, our foot would go out, we'd be open to the corner, we'd start to move forward, then we would straighten that back leg and throw the arm forward. And that is what actually is the beautiful move, brush knee and push, which we're working our way towards. Do we have any questions? Any thoughts? This was a lot today. Maria.
When you put your foot down, always with not with the ball of your foot, but the heel?
Yes, right now. When you're moving forward, always heel, ball, toe, I believe.
Heel.
Yeah, if you're making, yeah. So very good question, Maria. So as we move forward, you touch with the heel, and then we do what's called rooting. You put that heel pad in, and you feel it, and you feel that it's stable. And then you start to move forward, and your foot goes, so you put it down, you get the heel in there, and then you go forward, and as soon as all of your foot is on, then you can bend your knee. So that's kind of how we do it. And we distinguish those things because we can have our whole foot, we haven't talked about the bubbling well yet, we can do that next time. But once your whole foot is on the ground and it is solid on the ground, then you're truly ready to really deliver that forward force. Okay. And you're going to be able to, so you have it all the way there, and then you can deliver it. So when you do it, very good question.
So when you straighten the back foot, are you turning it on the toe or the heel, or just lifting the foot?
All right, so let's see. So you're talking about as we're here, I think, right? As we're going into the next step.
Right.
Right. Okay. You push with the whole foot, but the heel peels off first and the toe comes last. And this is a great corollary to what Maria said earlier. She said, you know, how do you go forward? We said, how do we go forward? Heel, ball, toe. How do we remove the foot when we're going forward? The back foot. It's heel, ball, toe. Again, the toe is the last thing to give up. And if you think about that, that makes sense. And then you bring it in and it comes down, heel, ball, toe. You come back and out, and the next one peels up, leaving the toe there at the end. And it can pivot. It can pivot if that helps you. You know, just, you don't have to stay like open somewhere else. You can get your whole body turned at this point and stand in the corner, which makes it really easy to take this next step. Or you can come halfway. It really depends on your move at that point.
Thank you very much, Didi, because it really gives you full force moving forward.
It does, doesn't it?
Yes.
And a lot of us, when we do furry friends, like we're walking around on our balls of our feet. But yeah, the more, you know, frankly, guys, the more of your foot that's contacting in the ground, the better. So we'll talk about the bubbling well next time. The quick thing about the bubbling well is if you're standing anywhere, and you want to know, is my weight in the bubbling well, ask yourself if you feel aligned, okay, because you need to feel aligned somehow, you know, like aligned and strong. And then, which you, I suppose, could feel like on the balls of your feet or something, but is the whole foot touching the ground? And can you not lift up any part of it? If you can't lift up any part of it until you kind of move, then you know that foot, you know, that foot feels really solidly in all parts on the ground. And I know some of us wear inserts, so it should feel solidly on your insert. But every part of your foot should feel grounded, not just everything in one point or something like that. Your whole foot on the floor, relaxed. Okay? We should close class, and you can ask any extra questions that you have afterwards if you'd like. So thank you guys for coming.
Thank you, Lausche.
All right.
Thank you, Didi.
Thank you, Didi.
Bye-bye. I'll be around to answer questions. I'm just going to close the recording. You're welcome. Bye-bye.
That was really